Does he work for energy?
Oh, yeah.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Wojcik? And then at this time, we'll open up for general public comment.
I just wanted to read something. It was in our local paper, if it's all right. It was in the Sunday Spectator, February 3rd, 2019. I know a lot of people don't get the paper. It was by Len Lisenby, and it's called Aging Wind Farms Reveal Sad Truths. And I thought it was a pretty interesting article. It said, it wasn't much of a secret. It was more of a case where people just didn't want to know the truth. After all, the tremendous quantity and quality of hype sounded so good. This was an incredible benefit to mankind, with almost limitless free energy literally pulled out of the air. But now, after slightly more than 2 decades of history, the ugly head of reality is being reared, and the truth is far more disgusting. We as a nation of caring individuals have been fed a distasteful bill of goods. We have been severely defrauded. We still are being defrauded. I'm talking about windmills. They have been and still are being touted as the greatest source of free energy with one exception, that being the sun. During their heyday, which in some areas is still continuing unabated, they were constructed with amazing speed. Whole landscapes were overrun with these metal giants. But now the truth is being observed by more and more individuals, and it is anything but pretty. There are currently more than 4,400 turbines within the U.S. that have burned up or otherwise been abandoned, not to mention the countless others that are rusting away. What once sounded like a good idea is today quickly becoming a nightmare that we now have to live with. The primary problem is the wind turbines, like solar panels, break down, wear out, and decay. And the ugly truth that no environmentalist will admit to is that the turbines produce less energy before they break down than their energy it took to make them. In fact, without massive government subsidies, these monstrous ugly creations become instantly unaffordable. I got the wind of this utterly massive problem several months ago, and I began doing some serious research on it. What I found out is enough to cause a boiling rage in anyone who cares about our nation. The investors in these wind projects are scam artists who are taking huge subsidies from the U.S. government, and the American people are getting nothing but a shaft in return. What happens when a windmill goes bad? More often than not, when they go bad, regardless of the problem or reason, they are simply abandoned. After all, getting those huge turbines removed is a major problem, and it is also very expensive. For sure, they are highly unsightly, and they are unbelievably huge, but that's a lot of material to get rid of. So rather than dipping into the firm's profits, the tower units are simply left in place to rust away. Here is a short history lesson. California had the 3 biggest and best wind farm locations situated at Alamo Pass, I'm not sure this next one is, Chapicha and San Goro. These are considered to be the world's best wind sites, but now all 3 are literally with non-operating wind towers, and some of the whole sections have simply been shut down and abandoned. And here is another kicker. There are 5 completely abandoned wind farms in Hawaii. I have another gripe with the wind farms. The same areas that are good for placing wind farms are usually a natural pass for migrating birds. This is a proven fact. Alamont's turbines have been shut down for months out of every year for migrating birds after environmentalists filed suit. The carnage of those big rotating blades were, and still are, killing many thousands of protected migratory birds, including golden eagles, many species of hawks, and virtually countless songbirds. What about President Obama's much touted offshore wind farms? Every one of them are beginning to seriously decay from salt water spray. Salt water is far more damaging than other normal elements, and offshore turbines cannot possibly last as long as land-based units. It is now a proven fact that wind generators have a very limited lifespan, roughly 15 years. It is another proven fact that the total of energy used to manufacture them and dismantle them is greater on average than the electricity that they generated during their entire lifetime, which brings up the irony of all ironies concerning wind generators and wind farms. So-called environmentalists originally wanted them all across America, and now it is environmentalists who want them taken down, even if it's at the point of a judge's gavel. And I think that was kind of important because I'd like to go back to Jamie Johnson when he was here. And, you know, one of the things that he said was back when they were starting this pilot program that none of the schools wanted anything to do with it. And then he said they changed the pilot program to make it more attractive for the schools. But then he went on to say basically, well, you know, we're not going to do anything for the towns. And I was looking at this, the Barron Wind Steuben IDA pilot assessment form, and 2019 projected town payment would be $197,793. The school payment is $402,089. That doesn't even make sense why these schools are getting, you know, so much money. And part of the point of this is, you know, that this pilot program, I talk to a lot of people in the community, and a lot of people that are on the border, whether they want these turbines or not, are of the assumption that, well, it's going to lower the taxes. And Jamie Johnson basically said, I think he referred to Cohocton as one of the towns that lost, if I recall, it was over $100,000. So if you guys can't negotiate this, I mean, you need to fight that for a better pilot program, because I can tell you right now, if they come and taxes don't get lowered, you people are going to be the most hated people in town. I can tell you that right now, because a lot of people think that the taxes are going to go down because you're getting all this money. They don't understand this whole pilot program. So I think it's something that you guys should look into. And the IDA doesn't want to play ball. I don't know what options you have. Hold the road use agreement up, but you should have some kind of an option to negotiate this whole pilot program. So thank you.
Are there any other comments?
It's more like 10 years anyway, not 15.
Move we adjourn.
I'll second it.